As townships grew around southeast Queensland, so too did the number of hotels. As Queensland's oldest provincial city, Ipswich also experienced its fair share of pubs being built in and around the historic town centre and surrounding settlements. So to coincide with Heritage Week, the Ipswich City Council launched a new Heritage Trail brochure called Rubbity Dubs to Pubs. Translation for me, an historic pub crawl around the area. Let's go. The brochure covers 30 pubs in the Ipswich area, including as far out as Grantchester, and all have some historic significance. It's unfortunate that many hotels came to a fiery end either late last century or early this one, and so it's only the ones lucky enough to survive fire that last as significant memories into Ipswich's past. One such pub is the Hotel Metropole, formerly known as the Harper Veron. The Harper Veron was the original building on this site, but by the early 1890s it had become run down. So in a newer metropolis, this newer version was erected in 1906 and received what was believed to be a more modern name, Hotel Metropole. It's refreshing to know that two prominent attributes of this grand old pub have been reinstated. The first is the street awning that had been knocked down in the 1970s because it was thought that the timber supports made parking too difficult. And the second was in 1997 when the original name Harper Veron reappeared. Another pub that's undergone a name change, only this one stuck, is Murphy's Town Pub in Union Place. This hotel was originally known as the Commonwealth when it was built in 1910. The date appears on the parapet along with its more recently acquired name, Murphy's. The interior of this pub was rebuilt in the 1980s, and that coupled with this outdoor eating area makes it a great little place to stop off for lunch with the family. But it's not just the history of the pubs that make them worth a visit, it's also the people behind them. This is the Ulster. It's been around since 1911, and one of its most colourful licensees was Dan Dempsey, a proud member of the Kangaroo Rugby League teams of 1929 and 1933. The pub is currently owned by Dan's daughter Norma and her husband Dennis Flannery, who also represented Australia in rugby league in the 1950s. The Ulster's a great pub to soak up a bit of atmosphere and hospitality. And after making the most of the Ipswich City pubs, if you've got the time, it's worth heading out to the surrounding towns as well. If you head a little west of Ipswich towards Rosewood, you'll pass through a small place called Walloon, and it's here that you'll find the, well, what else would you call it? The Walloon Saloon. Walloon is a very historic township, growing up around one of the original stations on the first railway line in Queensland. And of course, a town can't be in existence without a pub, hence the birth of the Walloon Saloon in about 1877. About another 15-minute drive west of Walloon, you'll find the lovely old town of Rosewood, and of course near the centre of town, a pub, this one called the Rising Sun. This pub's history dates back to the 1870s, when it was burnt down and rebuilt twice before this new two-storey hotel rose up out of the ashes in 1908. And it seems like a nice little spot to settle in for a while. I'm there. The Ipswich Heritage Pubs Trail brochure is available from the Ipswich City Council Tourist Information Centre and tourist outlets around Brisbane. Heritage Week runs from Friday the 23rd of April until Monday the 3rd of May, and activities are being held throughout southeast Queensland, so it's best to contact your local council for more information.